Okay, we're about to go live. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We got you.
Excellent. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Talking Saratoga, a weekly podcast with insight on the latest news, debate, and discussion from Saratoga Springs, a city that does not suffer from a lack of opinions. I'm joined by Adam Israel, who's over in Poland right now. Hey, Adam. Thanks for joining us.
Warsaw. Hello.
Hello. And Dan DiFederici. Dan, welcome.
Welcome. I'm loving this weather.
I'm loving this weather too, except I'm already sweating, which is like,
I'll say it's actually a glorious. I'm 6 hours ahead of you guys, but it was a glorious day in Warsaw today. So, I guess yay world.
Yes.
Yay sun.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just get right into it today, you guys, and I want to start with kind of what seems like a little bit of like a minor issue, but actually is like so upsetting to me, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. So when I first moved here, which was way back in 2008, I moved over to Thomas Street on the west side. And one of the things that was so appealing to me about Saratoga, coming from Manhattan, where I walked everywhere, was that I could get all the stuff I needed for like day-to-day life downtown, including my grocery store. I lived like a block away from Price Chopper, which at the time was like the ghetto chopper. It was like the old version.
I remember that.
Yeah. It was great though. You know, it was really functional, and I didn't have to get in a car to go get basic grocery stuff. And so when I heard about, I don't know, a week or two ago that it was closing downtown, I was like gutted. And now it's officially closed. And I think it is like a huge deal for Saratoga Springs that we no longer have a grocery store in our downtown, because I know that it didn't just serve neighbors and folks like me. It served a lot of people who are in our workforce, who don't have transportation, who relied on it as their primary grocery store. And I'm super upset about it. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought and how you're feeling, because I'm also not optimistic that another store is going to go in there for groceries.
Yeah, I'll start, Dan. I think one of the things actually I love a lot about Poland, but in Poland there are markets everywhere. Every little city, every town, they're owner operated. And they have one of the biggest things, my wife, the issues she had coming over to America was she's used to getting bread every day. So, you don't have these you do have the larger supermarkets, but you have the smaller markets too, where, you would go for the fresh, you would shop for a day or two, not a week. And I feel like, that little market gives that ability where you can go to shop for a day or two, instead of now having to go to, shop you go to the big supermarket and you got to drive there and park. And it's a big, it takes you a long time to get through. So it is a loss. I would love to see a market go in there, but there are no small markets in America that I know of anymore, really.
Yeah. And Robin, I agree with you. I was in there yesterday and I sent you to the tweet with a picture of the empty store shelves. And I was really saddened. I've never really been a fan of Price Chopper. I'm allow me to put my grocery snob hat on. I'm from Western New York, the land of Wegmans. So I look down my nose at Price Chopper and they're really dirty stores. And that's a shot. It's intended to be a shot. Get it together, Price Chopper. And then you close your best asset, which was that downtown store. I'm really bothered by that. And I reached out. I forgot who exactly owned that, but is it Bonaccio or Bonaccio? So I called their office yesterday. It's ironic you brought this up today, Robin. I called the office to find out what might be going in there, and they hung up on me. We're not at liberty to talk about that place. Click. I was like, wow, it was unprofessional. I was treated unprofessionally. In fairness to them, I had a bad connection, although I was standing right out on Franklin Street, so you think I would have had a good connection. But I was really bothered by the fact that it was closing. So I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like, okay, Price Chopper's a local company down in Schenectady area, and I want to support them. But in my view, they're not really being a great corporate citizen. They looked at the numbers. The Boston Avenue store is right there, and I don't know. That's my view.
Yeah, but how can so I've done my research, as they say. Price Chopper almost never closes the store. So it really must have been seriously underperforming for them to leave. But I also just feel like it's incumbent on our Chamber of Commerce to, know about these issues before they're happening and really proactively work with whatever store it is to try to keep the business downtown. And I think that's one of the things that I've kind of been like waiting for. Like, where's our Chamber of Commerce? Why are they not addressing this? This is a massive loss for downtown. And I have looked into a lot of different grocery chains to try to think of like who might be able to fit there. It's I don't think there's a shot in hell that we're going to get another grocery store there because it's a small location. I think it's about 8,000 square feet, but there's also horrific parking, which is a requirement for any kind of like a Trader Joe. Like, by the way, Trader Joe's, you guys, if you're thinking Trader Joe's is going to come, they're not coming. We don't meet any of the requirements that they need to move here, from the depth of population to the significant parking that all of their stores have, to their ability to hire employees that there's a whole list of things that they look for, none of which that location has. They also require a more square footage, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't see any other grocery store coming in there. And I just think it's a huge loss. And it should have been something that certainly our Chamber of Commerce should have been actively rallying to try to work something out to not lose them. So I don't know if I blame Price Chopper as much as I think it should have been a collaborative effort to try to see if we could salvage that store.
Robin, you were in commercial real estate. Do you have a feel of what the rent on a space like that would be?
Yeah, my guess is that it's pretty steep. The Market Center condominiums that are above it, and the mixed use retail. I actually leased the greenhouse salad space back in the day, which is if you're pulling into Price Chopper, it's right on the other side. Greenhouse salads. It's pricey. It's pretty pricey, especially for that amount of square footage. I don't know if the landlord, who I believe is Bonaccio, would make any concessions to try to make it more palatable to get someone in there, because it's got to be a huge revenue loss for them as well, because it's such a big space. But it's definitely on the high side for sure. So
yeah,
I don't know if I could put a number to that off the top of my head, but
it would be great to see it. And again, this is pie in the sky, right? But an independent operator in there, because again, going back to the experiences I have in Poland, it's with the independent operator, they tend to do things, you kind of get a more home cooked meal kind of feel there here. With their deli meats, or they'll have their pre-cooked foods are just have that home cooked feel. So boy, pie in the sky. I hope we get a market, and if we could get an independent one there, that would be great.
I think the closest thing we have to an independent grocery store would be Healthy Living, which is like out by the mall. Yeah. Which is owned privately. It's a smaller grocery store chain. Certainly, I know
we should acknowledge Four Seasons.
Well, so I was actually also going to do that, Dan.
Okay.
Four Seasons,
actually, that's a great point, Dan.
It's great, but so for those who don't know, Four Seasons has a grocery store right on Henry Street. It's to the if you turn north off of Lake Avenue onto Henry Street, it's right downtown. The only thing of it is that it's obviously all really great organic health food, but it's rather pricey, and it's not some place that for me as a mom of four I could do like basic day-to-day shopping. Although it's still a great resource, and I go there for kind of like specialty items and some of their prepared foods.
I read, and I can't remember where I read it, when they first announced Price Chopper closing, I thought they said they had a new tenant lined up. They didn't hint what it was.
Oh, really?
I thought, and I should have double checked that. I remember reading it, or they at least implied that. Of course, that's any realtor, any real estate is always going to talk positive. Like, they're not going to admit it's going to be empty for 3 months during track season. But they certainly all but promised that something was going in there.
Guys, I'm going to interrupt this really quick because the Commissioner of Finance just joined our live stream, and I want to bring her in and do change topics quickly because her time is precious. She's quite busy. Sure. Commissioner.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Hi. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so appreciative and so thankful to have you here.
Oh, I'm really happy to be here.
Well, I know you have a super busy day. Our Commissioner of Finance plays a lot of roles. She teaches over at Skidmore. She's a mom. She's our Commissioner of Finance, so she's balancing a lot of stuff. And we wanted to bring her on today to talk about something she's just proposed and was voted on at the City Council, which is called participatory budgeting. And I want to let the Commissioner kind of walk us through it. But in my introduction of it, I want to admit and tell you that initially, when I heard about this, I was a skeptic, right? I was like, why are we going to let random people decide how to spend our budget? And I was, skeptical, but But then I listened and I watched, and you really did a lot of presentations and really informed me, at least watching the city council meetings, about the specifics of how it would work. And now I'm a believer. I'm on board. So I was hoping you could walk our audience and Dan and Adam through it and just tell us, what is participatory budgeting? What does that mean?
So, one of the things that I ran on, and right from the get-go, was to make Saratoga Springs more inclusive, and get more voices at the table. I have the saying I talk about often: if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And it's true, right? And so a lot of people felt like they were not connected to the city budgeting process. And we have public hearings, we have workshops, but people don't feel like they can access it the same way, because and to be fair, a lot of people find finance boring. They find like, oh my god, the budgets. So we wanted to make it easy and accessible to people. So we've taken a very small percent off the money, which is less than 1/4% off our budget, which about $100,000. And we've opened it up to ideas from the public. And the way we see it is, people usually come to City Hall with problems. And this time with participatory budgeting, we're asking people to come to City Hall with solutions and say, hey, these are some of the things we think could make Saratoga Springs better. And a lot of other cities have done it across USA, across the world. New York does it at a much bigger scale with like $30 million. Freehold, New Jersey does it at like $100,000, which is comparable to where we are. Greensboro, North Carolina, Cambridge, Massachusetts. So this is common in that there's enough data available, and people have done some really interesting stuff. Murals, for example, is a one. Bike racks, charging stations. These are all ideas that have come in through participatory budgeting, and chess in the park, stuff like that.
Commissioner, let me ask you: what are some ideas, or what's an idea that you've heard that maybe you didn't think of, but that this participatory budgeting? What's some of the things that kind of change your thinking about the budget with talking to the people?
Well, so we, at this point right now, we're in the point where we're creating an 11-person committee. And they will be the ones sort of taking in all the ideas. And we have the ideas split in two parts: individuals and organizations. Because, Adam, if you want to suggest an idea, you shouldn't have to compete with, Sustainable Saratoga or RISE. And not that they don't have great ideas and plans, but they have a lot more sort of bandwidth in doing these things, right? There are a lot more people who can volunteer for it, a lot more sort of snazzy,
advocacy.
And yeah, exactly. So we want every single person to feel like they have an equal chance at this. So we split it into individuals and organizations. And you won't believe it, I was walking into City Hall the other day, and this person stops me on the road. She had a dog, and she was like, "Are you the commissioner of finance?" And I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "Are you doing that budget thing?" And I was like, "Yes." I was so excited. Knew what I was talking about. And she was like, there's this thing at High Rock Park. She's like, that needs to be fixed. Can that be on the thing? And I was like, absolutely, please submit your idea. And she's like, can we submit more than one idea? And I said, absolutely. And she's like, I think, the garage, the city center garage that we have, the big one. She's like, wouldn't a mural look great out there? And I was like, yes, please submit your ideas. So, they're all great ideas. And we will see what we can do within in the 2023 budget. We will implement it. And if there are some great ideas that the other departments think we can implement in over a longer period of time and stuff, then we will, sort of fold that into our budget.
Do you guys mind if I give like a 10-second overview of how our budget process works? Just so, because I think it's important, because for me, it's why this is such a good idea. Right now, we have it set up such that in late summer, a request goes out to all the different departments, asking them for their requested budget for the upcoming year. So all the departments kind of put together a budget that's a bit of a wish list, all the things they need, plus, additional items that they might want. Everyone submits it to the finance department. And then the first week in October, the finance department comes out with a comprehensive budget. which is basically they've taken everyone's requests and some are approved, some are not, and they're putting out a possible budget. And then from October through the end of November, there's workshops for each department. So every department gets their own workshop. The public can come and listen, but unsurprisingly, basically nobody comes to these workshops. Like I don't think maybe one person came. Adam, I think you came to watch one time, but very few people come. But after the workshop process is over, the budget is amended a bit, and then it has to be voted on by the council by the end of November. One of the things that I noticed was that occasionally, especially as we were getting to the end of the process and people were just kind of hearing about it, we would get people calling us with some really awesome ideas, whether it was areas in our playgrounds or sports or fields that needed upgrading, just like neighborhood local concerns. And they were all really great ideas, but oftentimes they'd be like too far, it would be too far into the process to make amends for them and adjust, and or whose department it would go in. So this to me was just a really cool way to really get, again, local neighborhood concerns, smaller stuff that's really makes a difference in people's day-to-day life, that we weren't hearing about. So anyway, again, one of the reasons why I think it's going to be a cool thing.
Yeah, and we're doing a lot of public forums. We have one coming up on 26th April at City Hall in the music hall upstairs.
What time is that? You don't know offhand. It's all right. We'll put it in the comments section.
Yeah, let me know and we'll put it in the comments.
I absolutely. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I just, first of all, let me preface this because it's going to look like I'm a naysayer, and I'm not. I'm not only am I a supporter of it, I am going to submit something. I have it all lined up on my desk. But with that being said, I'm going to take my Dan hat off and put my journalist hat on, be a little bit of a devil's advocate here. In an article in the Gazette a week ago on this, the official from Greensboro, North Carolina, I wouldn't say she was a naysayer, but maybe a realist. And she said, I'm going to quote here, it's a challenge to get ideas that are going to be feasible and doable in the community. Finding and keeping volunteers can also be difficult. Then later in the article, she kind of implied it's kind of like the same people that come to City Hall that are doing it. So on that, if there are problems with it, it seems like you foresaw some of these and are addressing them. But how do you get the 26-year-old restaurant worker to be involved in this when normally he or she may not be? And how do you overcome the other challenges?
Right. So in some ways, the commission form of government helps with some of this in that, in Greensboro, one of the comments in the Daily Gazette article is also that it's direct democracy. And if people want to vote on a $10,000 chess set, then you've got a $10,000 chess set. But in our commission form of government, we've added that one layer where the people will vote on the final thing, and that vote will go to the committee, and the committee will then give it to the finance commissioner. Because the way our charter is written is that I have to decide at the end of the day. And so that does, so if somebody wants to have a Confederate statue or a Nazi statue, and it does get, let's say, for example, the votes, then I still have the final say to say, no, we're not going to go with that. So that's one way of, us sort of dealing with that piece. The second piece, absolutely right, is you have the same set of people coming in and, what do we do to get more participation? And I think that's really why we're having as many public forums as we're planning to have. We are going to the schools, we're going to neighborhood associations and all places locally and listen, that if you meet me, this is all I talk about at this point, like random
Commissioner
on the road.
You made the application. It was online. I saw it at the council meeting. It was really easy, the application to be on this committee. Have you started receiving applications already?
Yes, we have.
That's
we've
awesome.
started receiving applications. People are excited. They've started talking about ideas. So there is thankfully at this point there is good feedback, positive feedback. And Dan, that's one of the things is that you have to go through this to figure out what you're going to tweak to do it better next year. But what you need is a big champion. And the problem at Greensboro is because they don't have a finance commissioner, there isn't that one champion. And so we actually talked to some of these places and we spoke to somebody at Greensboro and said, what are some of the challenges? And then we tried to fix them. We have the advisory committee, which is our budget director, Lynn Bachner, our deputy commissioner, Heather Crocker, and me. And we worked through all of the issues that they said they had to try to minimize them in the pilot project here.
Commissioner, let me ask you a question, switching gears a little bit. As our viewers may or may not know, I ran against you last election, and you won pretty handily. So congratulations. And I'm glad, glad that we had politics, and now we move on and we're Saratogians. So I appreciate that. But when we were running, and I'm sure you were looking at the same thing I did, Commissioner Madigan was in that seat for 10 years. I think I lost you.
Oh, no, we're back. We hear you.
We can hear you. I don't see you moving, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So Commissioner Madigan was in that seat for 10 years, and her last budget, I thought was pretty aggressive with what she was, the budget's based on what the income that you think the city is going to bring in, the revenue the city is going to bring in. It was pretty aggressive. I know it's our sales tax revenues up, which is great. How do you feel? Because you're operating right now with Commissioner Madigan's budget. Did you think she did a good job? You feel confident that this budget's going to, you're going to be able to, the revenue is going to meet the budget that she set forth?
Currently, the indications seem to say so. We seem to be having a good season. Our mortgage taxes are up. Our sales tax is up. So, I think budgeting, you have to take some risks, and I think her risks were not unfounded.
Right.
That's always good to hear.
Yeah.
But we're a tourist town, and if we get another COVID wave that sort of shuts down everything, then
Yeah.
So I always try to say, listen, if we have a good summer, we should be fine. But
Commissioner, I have one more question for you.
All right.
Sorry. So I just wanted to again clarify, because to me the thing that I've heard a little bit, but I am going to guess would be the criticism of participatory budgeting is this kind of idea that we're just loosey-goosey throwing $100,000 to a group of people. They're going to make decisions, and they're not qualified to be making financial decisions, and why would we give away this money to community members? And so I kind of wanted to just stress again, they make recommendations that then go to you and have to be approved.
They make suggestions that then go to the committee. The committee works with them on the feasibility, the viability, the timeline of the project.
Right.
Those projects are then put to vote in the community. That final vote is given back to the committee. The committee submits that vote to me as the finance commissioner, and then I will decide which ones that I will recommend to city council to vote in our budget. So
there's not going to be a $10,000 chess set happening, I guess is what I'm saying. There's lots of layers in this. So I'm guessing that's going to be probably the primary criticism, and I just wanted to really clarify that this is not they're not getting a check. The workflow is really rigorous. I think we lost Adam for a minute.
He just texted me. He's gonna come back in. He just texted me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I have a quick question.
The commissioner has to run. I know.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. We so appreciate it. We hope you'll come on again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, Adam, we got you back.
All right.
Hey.
Well, bye, Commissioner. Sorry, I lost audio there, but I'm back.
Well, but she was able to join us because I think it's actually really, again, I was a skeptic. I think it's a really cool and creative thing, and I have seen this kind of issue where people hear about the budgeting process too late in the game. They have good ideas, and we all locally, in our own little neighborhood streets, little things that we fix or notice, and maybe don't have the opportunity or know about the opportunity to kind of bring attention away. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yes,
I think it can't hurt, right? It's more input, more it can maybe change things for the better, but it certainly won't change things for the worse. Dan?
Yeah, one thing that we didn't get a chance to ask the commissioner about, but if you have an idea, folks, but you're not sure where to start, they will actually help you form it. You're not on your own just to press send. They will actually help you try to figure out the rough cost amount and things like that. And what I will say is Saratoga Today, Tom Dimopoulos, I thought did a really good article, as did the Gazette, but especially Tom Dimopoulos, because they had a chart on it that really showed the dates and everything. That was just from probably last week. You could simply Google that, and I thought they did a good job if you want to find out more about this.
And I will say, you know how we say in the beginning of the show that we don't suffer from a lack of opinions? We also don't suffer from a lack of participation here in anything in City Hall. And it's one of the like best, although sometimes like maddening things about Saratoga Springs. Everybody's at a forum. Everybody has involved. And so I sense that this will have a lot of participation, which will be
interesting. Robin, we're losing you now and again. So I lost you.
You are?
I can hear you now.
Closer to the computer. Let's switch gears for a minute, if you guys don't mind. I wanted to talk about something that's been online, but then also I heard a lot about at the school board meeting this week. Increase in physical, basically violent crime in our high school. Student fighting, fights that are having to be broken up by our SRO, which is the school resource officer, which is SSPD officers who is assigned to the school during the year, Officer Glenn Barrett. And this has been accompanied by several videos of some really disturbing fights. And then most recently, their site that's kind of like leaking a lot of. And most recently, they shared a letter from the teachers union president, I believe. Do I have that right? That articulated the really significant concerns about their safety, the student safety, and then additionally the amount of drug use and vaping and weed smoking that's happening in the bathroom. And so I just wanted to talk to you guys about it, and talk about some of the things that came, because it was a little, it was a touch controversial to say the least.
It's starting to pick up steam as well as an issue. Adam, I'm going to let you speak because you may have connection issues, so I'll let you speak when you can.
Yeah. So I mean, my thought on that is again, like I said in the previous segment there, I ran against Commissioner Sangvi, and I'm a finance guy, makes you a numbers guy, an analytical guy. And it's nice to know, okay, is this an issue or a perceived issue, right? Because the media can throw up whatever they want. You can post whatever you want online. That doesn't always translate into actually what's happening. And there was a clip shared from the school board meeting where Amanda, and I always butcher her last name. What's her last name?
Ellithorpe.
Amanda Ellithorpe. She was asking for numbers of okay, am I correct in this? Is this an issue now? Is violence up? Is student on students violence up? And she was having a lot of trouble getting the data from the school board president. So I would like to see more numbers on what is actually going on in the schools, because the media or what's being shared online certainly seems like this is a real issue. The email from the school board president, or not the school board president, pardon me, the school union, the teachers union president, seemed like make this an issue. But people will always say, they'll always ask for more money, more resources for their people. So
do you want me? Sorry, go ahead. Do you want me to read the email, you guys, really quick?
Sure. Let's hear it.
The Saratoga Springs Teachers Union President Tim I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Tim. Quote, this week, SSTA, the Saratoga Teachers Union, leadership met with district leadership to discuss student discipline within our buildings. This is in every building and needs to be a top priority. There have been several disturbing incidents in this past week alone that have prompted us to take on the building level and make this a top priority for the entire district. And then he went on to discuss several different issues, respectful and volatile incidents directed to teachers by students, a lack of administrative support when students are referred for discipline, inability of teachers to view dispositions or discipline records for students, and on a little bit. So it basically sounds like not only are these issues happening, but the accountability and discipline afterwards in the administration, there seems to be a disconnect there. So sorry, Adam, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted that one.
Yeah, no, thanks for reading it. And that again, that seems to be a big issue. And in our school board or members of our school board who are not giving the public and giving the other this information, I think, are really doing a disservice, because we as a community need to know, is this, everybody there were fights when I was in high school. I'm sure you guys, there were fights when you were in high school too, but we need numbers to know, is this being sensationalized online and by a union president looking for more, for more for their union, which there's nothing against, that's their job to look out for their people, or is this, so I think this is a real issue, and I'd like our school board to give us, have a little more transparency in sharing with us, and our school board president in sharing with the public and with the rest of the school board what's really going on and how bad is this issue.
If I could jump in here, Robin, correct me if I'm wrong. This was first brought to light, or one of the first entities to bring this to light was the Moving Saratoga Forward Facebook page. Now they've sort of expanded their presence. Suddenly, I got an email from them. They've got a mass email project. They got a brand new Twitter account.
There's a website, yeah.
I'm sorry.
And a website, yes.
Okay, yes. And I've ignored Moving Saratoga Forward. To me, in my view anyway, it seemed very extreme. So I didn't generally. I don't think I might have posted one or two things over the past 2 years from it on Saratoga Report. But I did post these items because I thought they were bringing an issue forward that the teachers union president gave legitimacy. Like, if it solely came from Moving Saratoga Forward, although the video they posted was pretty telling, because Adam, you mentioned fights in high school. Yes, I remember them, but I don't never did a police officer be in the middle of it. Usually a cop showed up, or even a teacher or principal. Everybody, they didn't care. Yeah. I saw that they did not care. That poor police officer was, he could have been injured. He was in the midst of that fray, and those kids were still flailing away at each other.
I also have to say that during the school board meeting, Natalia Latakia, who's one of the members, really sparred with Amanda Ellithorpe, because she said that the teachers union was also concerned, and Natalia really pushed her because she didn't believe necessarily that the teachers union had expressed these fears or concerns. And it was kind of disturbing to hear some of the other school members say, like, they thought this was just a social media thing. It was being overhyped. Was this really happening? And I went online and did a little digging, and I masterful Googling skills. I found Instagram accounts, TikTok accounts dedicated to these fights. They're like Fight Club accounts. And is kids, other kids unknowingly. Some of it is kids just having a fight club, but like in school and in like extremely violent, aggressive way that made my stomach turn. And to see Officer Garrett, our SRO, try to break up a fight and have the girls continue to try to wail on each other. One of them tried to knee him in the face at one point. I mean, it is really dangerous. Not to mention, I don't want my kid going to a high school bathroom. There's kids smoking weed in there, apparently defecating all over the floors. It sounds horrible. And so I think the administration and the school board need to get their head around this. And I know the school board is there to dictate issues, like that's not their purview, but the budget is their purview. And the point some people were making at the last meeting was that some of these issues may need budget lines and money behind them to solve. Like, maybe we need more money. So that's information they need to have so they could put adjust the budget accordingly.
I agree. And that was, I think, Connie, and again, butcher the last name, that's something she brought up of what can the school board do to rectify this? Because this is a huge problem. We have a school board, and the idea of, well, we're a school board and this doesn't fall under our purview. To me, just from a layman, seems ridiculous, because this is an issue that really seems to have some teeth to it, that a school board should be finding ways to solve, not to be finding ways to run away with. So, for the school board members who are running away from this and saying it's not their job, not there to solve this, to me is absolutely ridiculous. And I hope they kind of get their heads turned around. And if not, there's the school board elections coming up. It's in a couple months, I think, in May.
Yes, it's actually in May. Yeah. We're going to try to have a school board candidate forum so you guys can meet the school board candidates. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to confirm that this is because this is our school system seems to be declining, and this is, education is second to safety probably, and what's important for a community. So this is something that's got to be addressed.
It enrages me when an entity, in this case parts of the school board or parts of the school district tell us nothing to see here, when clearly there is something to see here. So that enrages me. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying what you're selling if you're denying that there's a problem. I think it's now could it be overblown to some degree? Yeah, but there is a problem.
One of the other issues that people are trying to conflate, I actually don't agree with. The argument being made that being overlooked and the district is too focused on equity, inclusion, and diversity, or DEI rather. I think that I think those are two totally separate issues. I don't think that trying to, put in a renewed emphasis on diversity, equity, and inclusion, I don't think that's like seeping into a lack of discipline. So I just wanted to kind of like make that comment, because I think that it doesn't help anything to try to connect those two issues, kind of politicizes it in a weird way. And I think that we should be handling school discipline as its own separate issue. And, if there is some weird correlation between the two, maybe that comes out at some point, but I don't believe that to be the case.
Agreed.
Thoughts?
Agreed.
Yeah,
Dan,
yeah.
Go ahead, Adam.
No, I was going to say exactly. We can't tout. We can't use one issue to distort another one. So, but
Yeah.
the issue that's a whole different conversation, Robin, about the inclusion and equity. But the issue with what's going on with these fights, let's solve this, because nobody wins in this. This is not these fights, these issues in the school right now this is not a Republican or Democrat or conservative or liberal issue. This is something I think we can all get behind as an issue that needs to be addressed.
Exactly. Robin, did we lose you? Your screen is frozen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're all having, so far, knock on wood, I'm the one that hasn't had connection issues.
Yeah.
Robin, you can hear us. We lost you. You're frozen on the screen. Oh, sorry, Adam. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, now we lost Robin. I'll jump in and talk about what I'm doing right now. It seems like a good point too. So right now,
we're back. Sorry, I lost you guys for a minute. Sorry, did you lose me?
Yeah, we
I don't know what's up
lost
with the internet today, guys.
The internet. But so, Robin, I was taking this opportunity to jump into where I am at and what I'm doing right now in Poland.
Yes.
So I arrived to Warsaw yesterday. Two other people came with me. Again, this movement, this thing we're doing is growing. It's great. We came to Warsaw. We went to the Warsaw Central train station yesterday. If you've kind of been following what I've been doing, you've seen me going through that train station a number of times. I'm happy to say that the train station now is, you would almost not know there was this crisis going on. There's no more people sleeping on the ground there. There's no more, dogs and kids kind of running around aimlessly. For better or worse, the Warsaw, the refugee bottleneck that was happening at the Warsaw train station is gone. We went around today and went to the Ukrainian embassy to see how that was. I was there a month ago with a lady who was trying to get a visa to the United States. She was unable to get one. The Ukrainian, or it's actually the Ukrainian consulate, was still a mob of women and children all trying to get to the U.S. I know the U.S. said they're taking in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees, but there's a difference in saying that and actually doing it. The U.S. has got to streamline this process, make it easier, make it smoother, because it's not easy right now. Other countries like Canada, where you just go and you get your biometrics taken and you get a visa there to go for 3 years and you get on their social service program. So, your needs are making sure that your needs are met.
Adam, who would like I feel the same way. Who do I go to my congressperson? Who do I push to?
Yeah, so this is really interesting. My wife and my father went to Tonko, Congressman Tonko, and I didn't know this. My wife said he started talking Polish to her. So he's of Polish descent. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
And she actually said, you wouldn't think Tonko was a Polish name, but my wife confirmed that it was. But he's just one congressman. So I would keep the pressure. I would call him. pretty much any representative you can. I don't know if you guys saw at the Grammys, and I think I talked about this last time, but President Zelensky came on and said, just do what you can, call who you can, write a post, write a message. So just, I don't know who to just yell whenever you can and however you can, that United States needs to start, ease this process of refugees getting into the States. So that was our day today. Tomorrow, actually, we're going to the border. We loaded up the car today with the idea to go to the border. So we loaded up the car today, and we went to the Ukrainian consulate and the church nearby that was doing a lot of great missionary work, and they just needed everything that was in our car. So we unloaded everything. It was, we spent about 8,000 zloty, which is the equivalent of, roughly $2,000. And we filled the car to its brim. Things were falling out, and we just gave it all away. We gave it because at the end of the day, we're here to help all the Ukrainian refugees, and they needed it literally at the consulate, where they had a soup kitchen there. A big shout out. I want to say the World Food Kitchen. This is the one group I see everywhere. If I ask people to donate to me, you can do it now through the Giving Circle. People, if you're more comfortable donating to a large organization, that's great. The World Food Kitchen is everywhere, and they're doing great things. I mean, they have, I don't know how they do it. They have at every main refugee hub, right? So we went to a secondary train and bus station today outside of the Warsaw Central one. They were there. They had a big tent set up, and they're a really welcoming, boots on the ground organization. So hats off to them.
Say the name once again, Adam.
The World Food Organization?
The World Food Kitchen.
I'll put it in comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It says here wck.org, if that is the same one. I bet it is, but I don't know that. So anyone?
That's them. And so a shout out to them. And tomorrow we the plan was actually to head tonight down to the border, but we gave everything away. So we're going to reload tomorrow morning and head to the border, drop things off, and pick up some refugees. So.
And how long are you there for this stint?
3 weeks.
Okay.
So Adam, I yesterday afternoon over at Kristen's house, Kristen Mason, who's been doing all the bows, the yellow and blue bows. We were there for a couple hours making more bows and stocking up on bows. So I just wanted to remind everybody that that's a really easy way for people to support what Adam's doing. The yellow and blue bows are $5. People have been putting them on their porches, at their retail locations. You can buy them at Letters of Hope for Ukraine, and there's all the information on how to get them. You can message me, comment here, whatever. But we just want to keep pushing that. I think that they have sold over 700 bows so far to support your effort, and it's actually spread into other communities like throughout the United States, which is like really amazing. And it just shows that the little bit, like a little small thing, can make actually a big impact in with people who really need it. So I just wanted to
I like to say it's 1 billion people right now just doing, and everybody thinks they're not doing enough or they can do more, or the next person's doing more. I mean, myself included. I see people. I know a guy who's out there fighting right now, in Ukraine. Boy, what a stud that guy is. So it's you do what you can. The little things, the butterfly effect. 1 billion of these little actions will add up, and we see it with Ukraine pushing Russia out of the West, and there's really, unfortunately, some atrocities that are being unearthed right now about Russia, the barbarism that Russia has, but it's all these things that people from around the world are doing to support democracy, to support a free people, and it's having effect. It's keeping this little country, the David Goliath kind of effect here with Ukraine. So. Anyway, thank you everybody who's donated, who said some kind words, and just keep on praying for Ukraine.
Awesome. Well, guys, should we wrap it and do our cheers and jeers for the week?
Sure thing.
All right, who wants to start? Who's got a cheer? Who's got a jeer?
I'll start it off, but I'm going to be a little negative and start off with my jeer because we talked about it once already. And Jeer to you, Price Chopper. You've abandoned downtown Saratoga. We talked about it earlier. It's near and dear to my heart because I thought it was a great store, like Robin talked about, having a downtown presence added to the community. It was important from a personal, selfish note. It was steps from my office, very convenient. I'm really bothered by that. I've never been a fan of Price Chopper, as I mentioned. So I'm really bothered by that. So that is from the heart. A cheer. This will be our first prospective cheer because to whoever fills that space, hopefully with a grocery store that gives similar products and services. Maybe Four Seasons is going to move across town. I don't know. I'm not starting a rumor. I'm just hoping. Even though, like I said, they don't have as wide of a scope. Maybe they would in the new location. The Henry Street location's a little out of the way. I don't pass it on the way home, and a lot of people don't pass it on the way home. So maybe that would be a good fit. I hope some business, whether it's an independent grocer or a chain, moves in there and serves downtown Saratoga. And so I give them a big cheer ahead of time if that's the case.
Adam?
All right. I think, I don't think I have a jeer in me today. It's just too worn down, too jet lagged. You got to stay positive. Cheers, Commissioner Shangvi. Again, I think a couple times I don't agree with her politics per se, but she's in it for the right reason. I think she's really trying to make it different, and she's really trying to make right decisions. And as a business guy, I always say that somebody making the wrong choices for the right reason gets a pass. And so now that she's doing that, but just coming on the show and sharing with her plan and what she's doing with participatory budgeting, I think is really neat. So cheers to her.
Well, my cheer for the week is to my friend and my colleague, Skip Saratoga, who passed away tragically last week from a very aggressive cancer. And his wake and funeral were on Monday and Tuesday, and the community came out to pay their respects. And I know that I miss him terribly already, and it's a huge loss for Saratoga Springs. So I just wanted to cheer the life of Skip Saratoga and everything he's done for this city. I don't think anyone could ever really put into words what he has here, and he had little ways and big ways. And so my heart goes out to his Green and his family and his son Mark and the entire Department of Public Works family, because it's been some dark times losing our friend and colleague that we loved so much. So I just wanted to cheer my friend Skip, and we miss you a lot, Skip.
We'll see.
So cheers. I think I'm gonna leave it at that too. I just want to leave it on a positive note with Skipper. And wrap it up there. But we'll be back next week. I believe next week is the city council week. I'm sure we'll have some fire going, and lots of fun local political stuff to follow up on, including, although I think this is way too early to be talking about, but the Times-Union did not feel the same way and published an article earlier in this week on who would replace Skip and how that process would work. Not appropriate, I think, to be talking about in this moment, but the city council is going to be moving forward in that process. So next week.
Excellent.
All right. Oh, you guys. Adam, thanks so much.
Stay safe, Adam.
See you guys in a week.
Bye.